Hello, good evening. Welcome back to Digital Income Night School. If you are new here, my name is Na. I've made over $500,000 online through digital marketing and affiliate marketing, and I help beginners build their first digital income stream online. So, welcome. If you're looking for a way to make an additional source of income or to build multiple income streams, you are in the right place. So last night, I told you something. I said there was one specific thing that stops most beginners cold, right? They build their digital product, they launch it, and then nobody buys it. And it's not because they've picked the wrong niche, it's not because they've picked the wrong problem to create their digital product about, but it's because of one specific thing that they got wrong about how buying decisions actually work. And this evening, I'm going to tell you what that thing is. But before I do, I want to share a little bit about something that happened yesterday because I think it's a perfect example of everything that I've been teaching you this week and last week. So, somebody watched Night School last week and then bought the Digital Income Jumpstart for, I don't know, I think 27 or $37. She booked a clarity call with me. We spoke yesterday and she was like, she's always wanted to make an additional source of income. She was ready to start. And this is what was very interesting about our call. So she came to me with more than four really, really good ideas of what she could create her digital product on. So, four things that she genuinely had experience on. She had solved problems in that niche. She was passionate about them. So, four different areas that she could build her digital product around. And all of them were valid, all of them had great potential. And that's actually one of the most common situations that I see because sometimes it's not that you are struggling to find an idea. You'll possibly be sitting with like multiple ideas. Sometimes you just have too many. And then the problem is that you can't decide which one to start with. So you sort of get stuck in what I call analysis paralysis, right? Because there are so many options, so many good options that you don't know which one to start with. But in that one conversation that I had with her, I was able to, ask her really good questions and help her get clear on which idea should she start with. And then once we had picked that niche and we knew what her first digital product was, I was also able to help her see how in that same niche she could create a mid-ticket offer that she could price or charge anywhere from $247 to $497 or even higher. Okay, so she left that call with not just clarity on what her first digital product should be, but a full roadmap. And she's working on the jumpstart now. She's working on it to build her first low ticket digital product. And then she also grabbed a few of my other courses that I have. And now she has like a clear pathway to create her mid ticket group program. Okay. And that's what like the clarity call, when you jump on that clarity call, that's what it's designed to do. You start with a small step like the 37 jump start, and then you have clarity. So imagine you pay only $37, but then you know how to create a digital product that could make you $37, whatever your low ticket price is. I think for hers it's going to be anywhere between $17 and $47 for her low ticket. But then she's also going to create the next step, right? That mid tier. So it's going to more than pay for the jump start, and then that's how she's going to be making sales in her sleep. Okay. That's the system that I keep talking about. Like, it starts with your first low ticket, but there are other steps and things that you can build and put in place so that you are increasing how much money you're making. And that's how like making a real income online starts to work and starts to come together. Okay. So tonight I'm going to show you the one thing that determines whether once you've created your digital product, what makes it sell or what makes it sit there being ignored. And I promise you, once you understand this, you never think about your digital product idea the same way again. Okay. So I just before we get into it, let me quickly bring up the registration link. Bring it up. So it's on the screen right now. If you haven't registered for night school, I always say when I go live, it can pop up on your feed. So you're probably watching me on your YouTube feed or Facebook feed, but you haven't actually gone and put your name and email in and registered for night school. So I encourage you to do that. It takes only a few seconds, but what you're going to get is my AI niche finder guide. Okay. And that guide is where this person I was just talking about, that's where she started from. It pulls out of you everything that you know. So in her case, it pulled not just one thing that she could create a digital product on, but on 10. And out of the 10, she was really passionate about four. And ChatGPT was able to show her which one she should start with. But then I went a little deeper in that clarity call. But for you, if you're watching me, register for night school, because you get that AI niche finder guide, and it will show you what you can create your first digital product on. Okay. It's really going to be an eye opener for you. Everybody who has done it is like, wow, it's a real eye opener. You didn't know that you are sitting on gold. So please go ahead and register. Okay. So let's get into what I've prepared for you this evening. Actually, before I do that, I've just published, so my YouTube channel, I've just published a video, and it's called Why Your First $27 Sale Changes Everything. Okay, so in that video, I talk about your first sale and what that does for you, the belief that it builds in you, the proof that it creates, the confidence that it gives you that actually it's possible for you to make money online. Actually, people can pay for this. Actually, you can package something and create a product and sell it online. Okay, so but this evening, what I'm going to do is go in the other direction. So tonight, I'm going to talk about your buyer. What is it that makes them say yes to one product and then completely scroll past another product, right? So think about it as two sides of a coin. One side from the video I published earlier today shows you how it works for you, right? When you've created your first digital product. But the second side I'm going to talk about today is thinking about how your buyer is thinking and why they will decide to buy that first digital product. So I hope that all makes sense. They work together. And the link for the first video is going to be in my description. But if you're watching me on Facebook, go to my YouTube, Digital Income with Shika. The video is going to be there as well. All right. Okay. So let me start with a question. Have you ever asked yourself, why do people buy anything? Like, even ask yourself, why do I buy anything? And I'm not just talking about digital products, but like anything at all, handbags, shoes. Why do you shop at Tesco and not Asda? Why do you go to Lidl and not Aldi? Like, why do you buy things? And sometimes the answer sounds simple, but most people building digital products completely miss it. Okay. So people don't buy the digital product, the product itself per se. I want you to be very clear on this. I know that I've said create your digital product and put it in a store, and I've used the analogy of if you wanted to buy a physical product, it's going to be in a physical shop, so you have to create your product and put it in the shop. But people are not buying the product itself, the digital product itself that you're creating. What they are buying is the outcome. They are buying the version of themselves that exists after the problem your digital product solves is solved. I hope that makes sense. So it's not your ebook is so fantastic and they want to buy it. They are buying, let's just use Auntie Comfort's example, the confidence of knowing that if they buy her course or her guide or her ebook, they will now know how to breastfeed their baby successfully. They are not buying, using my husband's example, they are not buying the DevOps course. They are buying the job offer, right? That's 70K, 75K, 65K job offer, and the opportunity to change careers and finally be, on the pathway for earning well and be in a career that actually matches their potential. I hope that's making sense, right? So they are not buying the guide, they are not buying the templates, they are not buying the mini course, they're not buying the course. They're buying the relief of finally knowing what to do and having that confidence that somebody who has solved the problem is showing them the roadmap. Okay, so the product is just the vehicle, the outcome of what that product gives them. That's what they're actually paying for. And this is where a lot of people who want to get into digital marketing, a lot of beginners actually go wrong. You see, when they create their digital product and they want to sell it, they describe the vehicle instead of selling to people the destination. They don't care about the vehicle. They care about where is this thing going to take me and is it where I want to go? Okay, so let me give you like an example. So let's say you've created a 25-page guide on breastfeeding techniques with step-by-step instructions with diagrams and exactly what to do so your milk come on time, you have enough milk, all of those things. One description could say it's a 25-page guide on breastfeeding techniques with step-by-step instructions and diagrams. That's one description. Someone has created a digital product. Then imagine another product says how to breastfeed your baby confidently in the first 30 days so that you both get the sleep and the connection that you deserve. Those two products, ask yourself, which one would you buy? Same product, completely different framing of what the product is and how it benefits the person. So description A is talking about the product itself, right? 25 pages, all of that. Description B is telling them what their life would look like after they buy the digital product. So ask yourself, which one do you think will make a mom who has just had a baby and is struggling with breastfeeding pick her card and buy it? Is it the one that is 25 pages, diagrams, or XYZ, or the one that says your baby you'll be able to connect well with your baby, your baby will be able to feed properly and sleep properly so that none of you are stressed? Which one? I'm sure you agree with me that it will be description B, okay? That's the one that's selling the version of herself that she desperately wants to become. I hope that all makes sense. Put in the comments if, give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. If you are watching, it's just, so let me give you the framework, okay, of how you can do it. So when somebody is about to buy something online, they're actually asking themselves three questions. They may not even be aware that these are the three questions that they're asking, but this is like buyer psychology. So you are the person selling your digital product, I want you to be aware that your buyers are asking or thinking of these three questions, okay? So write this down. Question one, they're asking themselves, is this product for me? Does the person who created this, do they understand my unique situation? Does this feel like it was made for somebody exactly like me? Do they understand me? Right? Question two, will this actually work? Nobody wants to waste their money. So they are looking for clues and evidence that it's worked for somebody just like me. Okay? Is that proof that this is real? If what I'm saying makes sense, give me a thumbs up in the comments or say yes. Question three, is now the right time to buy this product? Do I have a reason to buy it today? Thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up. I think I can even, let's see. Yeah. Do I have a reason to buy this today rather than coming back to it later? Right? Do I like the way you describe your product? It needs to answer those three questions for your buyer before your ideal buyer even gets to the page where they are taking out their card and making payments. And for digital products, one of the things I've said in the earlier videos is that you don't need to create a full sales page. You can just put your product on a checkout page. So if you have missed that, go and watch my YouTube videos. I talk about how to actually sell, right? So let me give you an example of how this works in practice. The question one is this for me? So one of the most powerful things you can do in your product description is think about who your ideal client is and talk about them very specifically. Like, what are they going through? What are their hopes and dreams? What are their frustrations? What does their day-to-day look like? Okay, be very specific. If you have been thinking XYZ, or you wake up at 2 a.m. thinking XYZ, if you are frustrated, if you are this, if you are that, describe. And I encourage you, when you're a beginner, complete beginner, creating your first digital product, one of the things I say is like the easiest place to start is somebody who you are selling to, somebody who was once like you, or who is like you were before you solved whatever problem it is that your product is solving. Okay, so think about how were you feeling when you were going through that. Okay, so don't just be very generic in describing who they are. Be very, very specific. So in my case, let's say my husband's DevOps course, right? That's the one that we've been able to make $500,000 selling. So let's say we are targeting a stay-at-home parent who has skills. I don't remember whether it was Thursday or Friday last week. I talked about one of our students who his wife was unwell, and so he was the full-time carer for his wife. Even though he had qualifications, he didn't have any way of paying for external care, so he was like the full-time carer, so he couldn't work, but he had qualifications and he knew that he could earn an income, but he needed to find a job that paid well and a job that would allow remote work, you see. So we were targeting people, stay at home parents. You've got skills, you want to upskill, you want to earn 60K, 70K, 75K. You want the opportunity to be able to have a skill set or a career where you can work remotely. That's who we are targeting. You see, you mentioned those things. And then when your ideal buyer reads that description and they think this is exactly me, you've already done 80% of the hard work of selling your product. Okay. And don't think that being specific is actually limiting. No, being specific is actually magnetic. It tells the person right away, this was made for me. I hope that makes sense. Thank you for the thumbs up. So, the second question, will this actually work? This is where proof comes in. And if you're a complete beginner, your proof doesn't have to mean that you have a testimonial of thousands, thousands of testimonials and a wall full of screenshots of people saying that, yes, I did this thing and it helped me. In the beginning, your proof can be just from one person. And in your case, one person whose life changed, one person who solved the problem, one person who said yes and got the results. And that can be you. You could be the person who has gone through what your product is going to help them with and show them what life looks like on the other side. So if you've lost weight, you could create a weight loss guide. What did you eat? What did you drink? What exercises did you do? And then a story like before and after. That's your proof. If you've changed careers and you are selling, how to change careers mid what they say, it's mid career, or how to change careers in your 40s, or even now what's happening is a lot of companies are laying off, and so people who have never had to change their CV since they were hired 15, 16 years ago, because people are doing companies are doing layoffs, suddenly they find themselves in the job market, right? So now they have to go and look for a job. So maybe you've been able to successfully switch careers in your 40s or in your 50s, so you've created a career change roadmap. How did you do it? What was your story? How did you go from that situation to landing a job that probably even pays you better than the one you had before? Okay. And then if you've worked with anybody in the past, even informally, even in informal situations like clubs, church, community, volunteered, whatever, you can get somebody who has had a positive interaction with you and get them to write a few words of what it's like to work with you. You're very understanding, you're very patient, you're able to explain difficult concepts clearly. All of those things are proof. Okay, I hope all of that makes sense. So something like, she helped me see my situation completely different in one conversation. I was very confused, and having this conversation with this person brought me clarity. The goal is to build trust. I hope build trust and give the person buying confidence that you know what you're doing and this is not a scam. Right, you're going to actually deliver and help them. And then as your business grows, as you start to sell more of your digital products and you get real client results, you start to layer in real proof, right, from real clients. So I've talked about Dr. Nana Gazy. I you listened to her voice, no, her video recording where she came on a webinar that I was part of. Like, when was the webinar? I think it was in April. Yeah. And she, medical doctor, she had no digital product. She wanted an additional source of income. She had no online following, no idea where to start. And then I show you how within 3 months of working with me, on her very first launch day, she made her first $1,000. And she didn't pay $1,000 to work with me. So already she's in profit. But then she's now making sales in her sleep. A real human being. I showed you her video. You saw her. And she talked about how she'd be, before she was afraid of scammers. She didn't want to trust anybody. She didn't want to be scammed online, but she took a step of faith and she's now making money. And she says, I was surprised. It was easier than I thought. So by me sharing that story, some of you here, somebody here is watching me and you're in the same boat. You want to make money online. You want an additional source of income. You want to build multiple income streams, but you too, you are scared. You're afraid of being scammed. So when I shared Dr. Gazy's story and I tell you how she was scared of being scammed, but she wasn't, and she made $1,000, it gives you a little bit of confidence that, okay, maybe if I work with Na, she will be able to help me. Does that make sense? So those stories are really powerful, and they tell a story to your buyers more than you writing a long paragraph explaining why they should buy your product. Okay, I hope that all makes sense. Question 3 is, your buyer is thinking, okay, I have the problem. I trust that this person can help me. Why should I buy now? Is now the right time to buy? You see, this is the question that most beginners who are selling digital products, they forget to answer entirely. Your ideal client is thinking, okay, I've had this problem for months. I'm really glad I've come across this solution. But I've been living with this problem for some time. Why should I take out my card and make a payment now? What's different? What's the urgency? You see, if your description doesn't give them a reason to act today, they will watch, they will think, oh, you are so brilliant, that's so inspirational. And then they'll tell themselves, I'll come back to it. And they might never come back to it. Okay. And it's not, I don't teach that you should use, like, false scarcity and all of those sorts of, it's called bro marketing techniques. I think that you should be, personally, I think that you should be honest and upfront. Like, if the price is going to change and the price is genuinely going to change, then say that. But don't say the price is going to change and then they come back 2 months later and the price is the same. There's a mall near me, and there's a shop right next to the Sainsbury's. That shop has been closing down for almost 2 years now. Every day I pass by, closing down still. The shop has still not closed down. Don't do that, okay? But remember that every week that your clients, your ideal clients, every week that they wait, show them that that's a week when not taking action, what is it costing them, right? In my case, I'm encouraging all of you to start and create your digital product. So I should be telling you that every week that you wait is a week that maybe someone else is jumping into the sea and is creating the digital product that you should be creating. Every month that you wait is income that you could be making that you are no longer making. Every year that you wait, you are just, constantly having a conversation with you. I should do this, so I should do this, so I really know I should do this, so, and you're still not doing. What's the cost of inaction? Tell them what the cost of inaction is. Okay, so let me bring all of this together for you. So a digital product that sells is one that names your buyer so specifically that they know that this was made for me. Is one that shows proof that it's worked for somebody just like them. And again, it can be you, right? It can be a story about you, or if you've got one client, it can be a story about that client, or a testimonial from somebody who has worked with you. And then spell out for them the cost of not action. Show them how that's more painful than the cost of actually spending their money and buying your digital product. You see? So a digital product that people don't buy, that one is describing features, 6 modules, this course, you get this, you get this, you get this, but it's not describing the outcome. A digital product that people don't buy is one that has no proof, because maybe the person who has created it is still waiting for everything to be perfect. You're afraid to tell your story. Don't be afraid to tell your story. Tell people what you've been through and how you solved it and how your life is better because of it. Okay? And then give your ideal buyer a reason. The one that doesn't work, they don't give the ideal buyer a reason to buy today. Because the greatest robber of I don't know whether I should say destiny or potential is, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Later never comes. You should do it now. You should buy it now. You should take action now. Because the truth is, there will never be a perfect time. There's always something going on. I don't know if you've noticed, there's always something going on in your life. There's always one reason or the other not to take action. So you have to spell it out for them. Okay? I hope all that makes sense. If that's making sense, thank you for adding the thumbs up. Now type yes if what I'm saying is making sense. So I know that that's a different comment from the earlier one. Okay, so about 27 minutes into when I started, if you've just joined us, if you've just come across this live stream, thank you for joining. My name is Na. I've been able to make over $500,000, 500K plus, 500K plus online through digital products and affiliate marketing. And I've been working with beginners, showing them how to build their first digital product and make their first second income, like build a real second source of income that has potential to grow and become whatever it can become. Okay, in my case, we've made $500,000. I know people who have made multi-millions, so the potential is there. This is Digital Income Night School. It's free, absolutely free, every weekday, 9 p.m. GMT or 10 p.m. UK time, BST. We come on and I show people who are beginners what it means to be in digital marketing, what a digital product is, how to get started. Okay, so if you haven't registered, then please register. The link will be in the description. If you're watching the replay, look in the description for the link to actually register. Okay, so this evening I gave you the framework. Thank you for saying yes. This evening I gave you the framework, right? The 3 questions. Let's see. Yep. All right. I've just discovered that I can bring the comments on to the live screen, which I think is quite exciting because it shows that you were here, you were live when I was on, and it brings you on. So those of you who are not commenting, please comment. I'll bring your comments into the live stream as well. All right. So this evening, I've given you the framework, the 3 questions that every buyer is asking. Is this for me? Will it work? Is now the time? And the difference between a product that answers all 3 and one that ignores them and doesn't answer. Okay, so here's the honest truth. If you've been thinking about creating a second source of income for a while, an income stream that doesn't depend on you showing up every day, it doesn't depend on your energy every single day, something that you can create once and sell forever. That's the amazing thing about digital products. Physical products, every time you want to sell one, you have to create one, you have to deliver, you have to ship, you have to, well, let me start with create, manufacture, deliver, all of those things. Digital product, you create it once, you can sell it multiple times. And if you've set it up properly, I talk about a system. If you've set it up the correct way, you can be making sales in your sleep, making sales all the time. That's what a digital product does. And a digital income jumpstart is a workshop where I walk you through exactly how to create your digital product. So if you've been thinking, I want a new source of income, digital products are the way to do it. I've been able to demonstrate that with you. And I've talked a little bit about how in 2022, so we built our digital income business, which was a course. We built it in 2022. At the time, I didn't know what was coming in the future. But in 2023, when I was diagnosed with 3 different chronic illnesses, that online business and that income stream was able to cover because I couldn't work. I couldn't work in my corporate career. I couldn't work in my online business. I was not able to work. But the digital income that we made from there, we made 172, I believe, in that year, 2023, when I didn't work. But it's because we had built it in 2022. So those of you who are sitting here thinking, I have a job, I have children, I'm busy, I have a lot of things on my plate. That was my situation. I had a job, 60-hour weeks in investment banking as a vice president, managing global tech teams. I had raising two boys, very active in so many social things in my alumni society, my secondary school, church, so many things. I was busy. If you think you're busy, I was very, very busy. And yet we were still able to build it just a little bit at a time. Okay. And being able to build that on time made a difference for us. So if you're here and you want to make an additional source of income, you've seen these adverts, right? Somebody told me, I've wanted to do this. His exact words is, I've wanted to do this in a minute, but the space felt spammy. Okay, and that's the reason I'm coming online and I'm doing these live so you can see a real human being, very, very real human being. This is a real background. It's not fake. This is a real background. A real human being who has made real tangible money online, showing you that it's actually possible. Okay, so take that step. Grab Digital Income Jumpstart. You see how I've shown you practically the framework. I've shown you that it can work. I've shown you examples. I've shown you why you should buy it now. And I've shown you how having it now. And I didn't talk about how many modules are in the Jumpstart, and how many sessions, what I cover. I'm talking about having a source of income if you are sick, having a source of income if you can't work. Why you should buy it now? Because we built ours in 2022 and I needed it in 2023. You see how I've shown you a practical example of the framework I taught you this evening. That's what you have to do. That's what is going to drive your buyers to make a decision. Okay. So that's what you're able to get if you grab my Digital Income Jumpstart. In fact, you start with the AI. So um, let me see, is the right thing there? I can't see it on the screen. Digital. Okay, yeah. So the link is on the screen now. Pardon me. So the link is on the screen now. I normally sell this for $97, but for those of you who grab this because you're watching Night School, you can get it for $37. Okay, so grab it now because it shows you how to actually create your product and put it in a shop. It's not just creating your product, actually launch it. What you have to do, in very, very simply, I break it down so that even if you are non-tech, like people tell me, nah, me, I'm non-tech. Even if you are non-tech, the way I go through it, you will be able to actually create your digital product. Okay. So grab that link. Um, sorry, go to that link, grab the Digital Income Jumpstart, and start creating your digital product so that you have another source of income going before you actually need it. Okay. I hope that all makes sense. Now, tomorrow evening, Wednesday, we're going to go into something that stops almost everybody before they even get to the product description. Okay, sometimes when you hear that people are making money online, digital marketing, digital products, affiliate marketing, in your head, you are thinking influencers, you are thinking 100K followers, you're thinking 1 million followers. You should look me up on social media. I definitely I don't even know if I have 10K followers. And yes, we've been able to make $500,000 online. So you don't need to have a lot of followers. I'll show you exactly how to make your first sale, even if you have 0 followers. Okay. I've talked to you about Dr. Nana Gazy and how she didn't have any big following and she made her first $1,000. You can look me up, Digital Income with Shika, or look up Cloud Rock Academy, which is our business. Look at our social media, look at our followers, and then you'll see that, hey, they don't have a lot of followers. And yes, they've been able to make money online because there are systems and there are things that you can do that don't necessarily depend on you having a lot of followers. Okay. So I hope you've grabbed the um, digital income jumpstart. So tomorrow evening, that's what I'm going to show you, how that's possible. How do you make your first sale when nobody knows you? Nobody knows you online. In fact, you prefer to stay hidden. Those of you who prefer to stay hidden, join us tomorrow because I'll talk about all of that. All right. So 9 p.m. GMT or 10 p.m. BST or 10 p.m. UK time, I'll be back live and I'll walk you through it. I hope that what I've shared with you this evening makes sense. I showed you practically how to do it so that you know that when you actually create your product and you put it out there and you do these 3 things, people will actually buy your digital product. Okay. So I hope that was very beneficial. Go and watch the video that I released this evening, the part how your first 27 sale changes everything. Watch that because that's the flip side of everything I taught you today. So when you have the two, the whole puzzle makes sense. All right. So thank you for joining me and have a blessed evening. I'll see you tomorrow.